Okay, welcome to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hainer. Tonight we have the team Tampa 2020 with GM Matt Moschella. I get that right? Moschella?
Yep.
And Brent Jackson. Welcome to the show tonight, guys.
Yes, sir.
How you
Thank
doing?
you for having us.
All right, let's go ahead and get things started. You want to start out with you, Matt, obviously one of the younger GMs in the TBT and already going into your third year here in 2020. So just want to start off with Tampa 2020. I know this has a special meaning to you, the name, but I'm sure a lot of people listening and watching don't understand why you guys selected Tampa 2020 as the name of your ball club.
Yeah, so the name of the ball club was a friend of mine. His name was Don Thomas. He introduced me to a young man that we chose not to say his name because his family just wants it like that. And then through our childhood, we used to play a lot of pickup ball outside, all that stuff, and the kid really had a bunch of talent. He was a little older than me, but, we became close. And he started picking up a couple offers here and there. And he was actually killed by gun violence, so like a drive-by. So he was just like a 2020 guy. His vision was always to make it to the league, play D1. And, he honestly averaged 20 and 15, but he just ended up getting the nickname 2020. So we just play for that, and we're from Tampa. So just Tampa 2020 just was something to play for him.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, because, you're playing for someone, but also you're kind of playing for a region. Can you talk about the significance of having a team that's primarily Tampa and Florida-based?
It's honestly one of the easier things because there's so much talent out here. I think, honestly, we have a great group of guys that we've got mostly from Florida. We got a couple guys out of state. But, other than that, I think we're ready to go with anybody that's going to be playing against us. And most of our guys are from Florida, so.
All right, excellent. Yeah, one more question for you, Matt, before we kind of dig into Brent a little bit. How did you get involved with the TBT? And obviously at a young age, working with professionals and the GM role is pretty elaborate in coordination.
Yeah, so honestly, it's there was a league about 4 years ago that one of my friends recommended us to, so I made a team. We went 0-9. So we were the worst team. We were the laughing stock. It was just me and my friends. And then I sat there and thought, and then we got invited to a $10,000 tournament. So I actually recruited a couple guys, and we won a game, and then, we got eliminated quick. But after that, I sat there and thought about it, and I was like, maybe if I put some effort into this, I get some professionals and go from there. So we won a couple games our next year. And then I was talking to a bunch of guys, and we wanted to try TBT. So we did the voting process. And that's one thing that we're always very big on is getting the supporters. So we ended up getting, I think it was like 1,600 votes that year. And we were eligible to play in the Richmond region, and we had to play a playing game against, I can't remember the team's name.
Cancer plus one.
Yes, Cancer plus one. And we ended up beating them, and then we had a great game against VCU.
I was in the crowd there. That was actually, it's interesting playing the alumni teams in their own house. It's like, hey, here's a fair game. Go play Ram Nation on their home floor. It was just like watching Havoc in Lifetime. You guys put up a hell of a fight considering the circumstances.
We really did. Oh, go ahead. My bad, Matt. Go ahead.
I was going to say for us, we just had a very bad start. We got down 20 pretty quick. But, to see them battle and get as close to 7, that showed we were a real team. For them to have a band, though, that was pretty interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, that was actually completely wild. Absolutely wild. So you're thinking a little bit about, you talk about the fan base too. As a GM, we'll get to Brent in a minute because I really want to hear about Brent's overseas adventures. But how, as a GM, do you get everybody so involved? And look at the fan base already. You have 10 times the fans of any other Florida team. And it's not a slouch league. That's a really good region. You're already 800 plus fans. How are you driving that level of engagement?
So for me, I'm always very, not strict, just one thing for me is always I want to have 1,000 plus supporters. So, I try my best. Our head coach has helped a lot. John Bianchi, he's, helped me with sending out links, posting links on Facebook. For us, Facebook is our go-to because that's where the the family and friends help us out a lot. So, you know, it is what it is. But like you said, there's also a couple other teams from our area that are trying for the same vote. You have, you know, Team Spates that's from around here. You have Florida TNT. And then you have Team DRC for if they decide to come back or how that works. And then we also have players like Brent and a few other guys that send out the link to their family. So that's how we get our votes.
All right, Brandon. So let's get Brett pulled in here a little bit. So past couple of years, you played in Mexico in some of the top leagues in Mexico with some really good talent, and then recently moved down to Brazil. So tell us a little bit about how it is to play overseas and how that experience has helped you along with your career.
Okay. Yeah, man. The best way to put it is international basketball is a beast. You know, the NBA gets a lot of credit, but there's a lot that goes into overseas basketball. Obviously, you have the political side, but you also have the environment, the culture. You know, you may run into teams where the coach doesn't necessarily speak the English language. So you're having a third party through teammates, through assistant coaches, to try to adapt and to become as one. Also, you know, I've played in Mexico, I played in Ecuador, I played in Saudi Arabia, and like you said, I played in Brazil recently. And all of those, it kind of just taught me different aspects of the game. Because myself, I'm a late bloomer. I didn't really pick up basketball until probably my senior year in high school. I didn't have any offers. I went NAIA. I ended up learning from that experience. Went to Division II because I lost a year of eligibility to go D1. Learned through that, and it's really just been a learning process. You know, the game of basketball is all about a process. You know, some countries are more physical than others. You have some countries like Brazil. Brazil is probably the highest IQ league that I've played in so far, because you have a lot of Argentinian players that play there. You have a lot of Dominican Republican players. Obviously, the Brazilian national team players. I mean, I played with two of the best Brazilian national team players in history, that being Leandro Barbosa and Alex Garcia. But I mean, like basketball is just, I mean, it's been a roller coaster, but I've loved just about every minute of it.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. And, you know, you're kind of settling in there into Mexico and South America. So how did you decide to kind of go that route versus, you know, some overseas leagues like Finland or, you know, some of the leagues in Spain when you make your decision to play overseas?
And feel free to say it's the women.
Actually, you know what? What's crazy is Brazil has had the best women that I've seen. Down. And I mean, granted, I've only been in Central America and South America, but when I tell you the women there are wonderful, they are wonderful. I'm currently trying to learn Portuguese just in case I get stuck there for, you know, 8 years.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was a late bloomer, and out of college, I was looking to get an agent. Didn't necessarily work out, but I ended up grabbing one like last second, and I had signed to go play in Liga A, Argentina. And they were moving up into the division, but I believe like a month before I was getting ready to leave, they decided to cut the whole roster. So
Whoa.
I lost my job to two guys that played in the G League. So I was just like, okay, cool. You know what? Since this just happened, I'm gonna go ahead and go to a G League tryout. Went to a G League tryout. I went to Long Island Nets. I went to Lakeland Magics. I went to Westchester Knicks. I actually had a private workout with Westchester Knicks, and I went to the regular local for the Long Island Brooklyn Nets. Ended up making that training camp. I believe it was 16, 17. I feel like I did really well. I feel like I was one of the best shooters at that camp, but just due to my college resume, I feel like that really impacted the decisions that were made. And you know what? I could have asked a million questions why, but you know, in this game, you can really see you really gain an eye for what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
But to hit on the subject about Europe, I had a few offers to go to Lithuania. NKL, I believe, is the second league. I had an offer from Finland, but the money was just way too low. I understand it's more of taking a leap of faith. But, you know, when you're broken out of college, you know, you really kind of want to start with something where it's like $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? Within that range. So I ended up going camp to camp to camp to camp. That's my journey so far. So when I moved to, and brief recap, so I'm not originally from Florida. I'm originally from Colorado. Both my parents are in the military. So we've moved around from Colorado, Texas, and my parents ended up retiring in Florida. So when I first moved here, I went to a pro exposure camp ran by a hooper. His name is Magic Dorsey. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. He's big around the Orlando area. And I went to his pro exposure camp, and he liked my game. We had chopped it up, and he ended up getting me my first job in Mexico in the LMBP top division there. And he basically just told me, he was just like, "Hey man, it's been about 1.5 years. You've been training, you've been working out, you've been getting ready for this moment. Go ahead and show out." So I mean, that's kind of what happened with that. And then unfortunately, my performance didn't flip over another page to where, okay, maybe I can get with a better team, or maybe the top team that just won it last year, man, this kid was really good. Let's see if he can fit in our system. And that never happened. And granted, the agent that I had at the time, maybe he had an impact on that. Maybe he wasn't as plugged in. But you know what? Like you said, I played in Mexico 4 times. I played in the top division twice. I played in the summer league twice with actually really good talent. I played against Dominique McGuire. He played in the league. Somebody else played for the Celtics. I want to say his name is John Giddens. He played for the Celtics, I believe. But you have guys that play at, West Virginia. Juan Toscano, he played for the Warriors this year. He played in that league. So there's a high level of talent and athleticism. But I think Mexico just kind of gets a bad rap when it comes to trying to progress your league. So I ended up removing the agent that I had at the time, and I was traveling to different states. I'm meeting different people. I'm networking, and just recently I had a teammate hit me up, and he was just like, "Hey man, I have this guy. He's interested in you. He's going to try to get you a job in Switzerland." Long story short, all of that stuff didn't work out, but he ended up getting me the job in Brazil because he's best friends with Leandro Barbosa. So Leandro Barbosa saw my film, Alex Garcia saw my film, and they're just like, "Hey man, we really like this kid." They had a really good team. We ended up being 4th before the coronavirus hit, and we really could have been a top 2 team, but games slip under your fingers and all that stuff. But yeah, long story short, man, it's been a journey, and I'm hoping to just continue to excel. Hopefully the TBT helped me out a lot last year because we had that good game against CP3. Granted, it would have been a lot better if we would have beat them.
Yeah, we'll go back to that. Yeah, that's definitely we're gonna talk about that a little later.
But honestly, man, I'm loving it, man. I'm loving overseas basketball. I'm loving the grind. It's just like, I say all the time, man, I wish I would have done the AAU circuit when I grew up, because I didn't. I played one circuit. I think I did the Indiana Elite circuit going into my senior year, and that was it. I think I did Indiana and Nashville. And I played baseball growing up. Like that was my niche.
Right.
But I'm naturally good at basketball, and like I said, I took it seriously going in my freshman year. And you run into the bumps and the hills and the roadblocks, and you're just like, you know what, I'm not going to let you stop me. And then you just continue to progress. Sorry for the slip up.
Yeah, it's been that's a wealth of experience already in just a couple of years. So yeah, no, we appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, it's interesting too, hearing like the sheer amounts of hustle it takes to succeed overseas. Because you named, I think, 172 countries right there, and that's pretty impressive. I didn't know there were that many countries. It's like the UN.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy playing 172.
Well, and plus, the reason you didn't make the Nets is you probably believe the world is actually round, and they like flat point guards. They like guys that think the world is flat. So that's how the Nets work. But back to Matt for a minute. You've got this roster, and I'm looking at the size you've got. You've got a big backcourt. Brent plays in the backcourt. He's 6'5". You've got a lot of size, a lot of switchable wings. Like, what are you trying to run? How did you assemble this roster with what in mind?
So we've always actually been a little shorthanded the last couple years. Our big has always been LeRon Smith. He's returning for year 3, but we wanted to surround him around where he can actually get a break. We've, when he gets a break, we're going with a 6'5" guy guard. And for example, last year Kennedy Meeks, or the year before James Farr, and those aren't small men. So, we're trying to. We got a couple bigs this year that we've got one that's got some weight on him. That's something that I was looking for, because banging down low with big guys takes a lot out of LeRon. So we got a couple to go there. I went with bigger guards. That was an unfortunate breakup with a couple players from last year. But, that's where the GM comes in. And I was just thinking that all these guys are switchable. If, switches happen, you get pick and rolls. We got a very versatile roster, and I really, truly believe we're a team to watch out for in the Florida region.
Yeah, so Matt, you talked about some of the GM role, and it is hard to put a roster together, let alone at some of the high level players that you've been able to get in your first 2 years. And obviously, losing Daquan Brooks came to a little bit of a shock to me. I saw the verification video; he committed to Tampa 2020, and then I see another verification video for D3, so he jumped ship. So
Tampering. It was tampering.
So how obviously that impacts the team, and so how do you react to stuff like that? Is that just the kind of business as usual behind the scenes? Were you caught off guard and just got to move along? How do you deal with something like that? That's such a good player for you.
Actually, it was our choice. I handled it wrong. I should have handled it better, but like I said, we were trying to go with the bigger lineup this year, and Daquan's a great player. He helped us out a lot last year, but just this year we're trying something new. So, that was it. I should have handled it better, but I wish him the best of luck for D3, and that's how that goes.
Yeah, and looking at the past is kind of useless. You want to look forward, but just indulge a minute. You've had a already rich history in only 2 years. I mean, as a 7 seed last year, you gave CP3 all they wanted. I mean, a 1-possession game. That's tight. And then you won the play-in game in Richmond, which I was honored to be in attendance. It was a fun crowd. And you won the play-in game, and you gave VCU plenty on that game. So you've always been for a fight. What's up with this year? Like, how do you see this playing out this year? Like, what do you think the goals are here?
Honestly,
I'll go ahead, Matt. I'll speak on that. I'll speak on that just because I'm gonna be on the floor. I think because me and Matt have been in talks about roster moves, what we kind of want to do, and really the game of basketball has changed to positionless basketball. And in Brazil, we play a lot of positionless basketball when it comes on the defensive end. I probably switch off on a 6'9", 6'10", 280-pounder every game, probably 4 or 5 times. And I really think that gives us an advantage, especially on the defensive end. And I think that was our that's basically like our game plan, because we know we can put the ball in the basket. Obviously, when we played against CP3 and them, we were hot, you know what I'm saying? But when it came down to the Elam ending, we need to rely on stops. So why not have a backcourt where it's 6'4", 6'5", and they can move just like a guy like Daquan? There's no knock on Daquan, but at the end of the game, when we need to get a stop, man, I would feel a lot more comfortable, and I'm sure the team would feel a lot more comfortable for a guy at the PG position being 6'4", 6'5", or at the shooting guard position being 6'6". But I mean, that's kind of my thing on it. Matt, do you have anything else?
No, I just go with I truly believe, like I've said just a couple minutes ago, I think our roster is very dangerous. I mean, a missing piece that we feel for the last couple of years is Justin Gray. This year we convinced him to play with us. I think he's a big time ad for us that could play the 3-4 and can guard some 5s.
A lot of size at a guard. A lot of size for a guard.
Yeah, I mean we have a few guys like that. We have Dayon Griffin. He's also 6'5". He can guard 1 through 3. I mean, you have Brent, you have Isaiah. Like, those 2 guys are returning. Those 2 actually lit it up last year against CP3. Like Brent said, we got cold in the Elam ending, so this year we got plenty of scorers and defensible players that can come in and do what we need them to do and endings like that, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of close games this year.
Yeah, so let's go in a little bit deeper to that CP3 game last year. Not to open up some tough wounds, but it was voted as one of the top 5 games of the year by the TBT panel. So 63 games in a season, and they voted this game number 4 overall. You guys had an 18-point lead halfway through the third. You were up 3 at the Elam ending. Isaiah Williams hit a 3. You were up 6. And Brent, I'm going to start with you.
Oh,
Just
Lord.
take me through kind of the experience, not just losing in the Elam ending, but you're playing in front of CP3. You're playing with guys who've been on an NBA court. So just take me through the experience and just kind of how that was, and just a little bit about the ending and what that meant to you.
Man, I actually didn't even sleep the night before. I think I probably got like 5 hours of sleep. Because I take stuff like this, I can't say I'm the only person that doesn't take basketball for granted. You know what I'm saying? And granted, sorry. And man, it's just with me personally, just being an underdog and somebody that is still trying to prove themselves and still trying to play at the highest level possible, and to play against probably top 10 best point guards to ever play the game of basketball, like that just lights a fire under you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I think I hit my second 3 and I was just like, I'm going to light you guys up tonight. I am going to, like, I'm going to talk trash to y'all just so y'all know who I am at the end of the day. Because like I said, man, we caught fire and it was just like, bro, this is going to get nasty. You know what I'm saying? But I think at the same time too, I think we decided to sit on our heels at the wrong time. I mean, granted, you can say, shots weren't falling or we weren't getting stopped, but I think we just ran out the tank, honestly. Me fouling out, which has kind of been, it's been a crazy trend lately. Because I usually don't. I feel like I play a lot with my feet, not so much my hands. But like the way that the calls were going, at the end of the game, it was just kind of like, oh, you guys are really letting them, edge into this lead. Either be a weird Euro step, 3-step Euro step, which is just like, damn, what is that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a 4-step. Okay, so there we go. He said 4-5, James Harden. But just small things, and I was just like, damn, what's going on? And like I said, fouling out. I mean, I had all the confidence in the world that my team was going to pull it through. But like I said, man, I just defense at the end, because you can win championships playing defense.
Yeah.
Solid, great defense in the half court, transition, because we had a team that can run. Baron Smith is a gazelle. You know what I'm saying? He gets up and down the floor effortlessly. Deshaun, that dude's like, I actually was watching, was it Sean Kemp? It was a Sean Kemp and Charles Barkley matchup. And I was like, Deshaun plays like Charles Barkley when it comes to offensive rebounding, getting up and down the court, offensive rebound, you know what I'm saying? All of that stuff. And it was sick for sure. It was sick for sure. And what really, I'm not going to say it hurt, but, the guys were talking to CP3 after the game, and CP3 was just like, yeah, that guy just talks too much shit. And I'm like, because I mean, I didn't go over there because, I respect the man for who he is, but I'm not a fangirl. I'm going to just keep it 100. I'm not a fangirl. Like, you guys just beat us. Like, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you feel like you want to come up to me and say, hey, man, I enjoyed, playing against you, blah, 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 cool. We can talk it up like that. But right now, you just beat us. But anyways, yeah, he was just like, yeah, man, that kid just talks too much shit. I'm just like, bro, you're like, did you not see what you did to Steve Kerr, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you are a huge shit talker, but you're going to say, hey, I respect it then. That's respect. If you
It's one of those deflection things. People who are the worst at things always call other people out for the same shit.
Yeah.
Hey, man. But yeah, other than that, man, I really love the experience. I love playing with the guys that I play with. I love playing against guys that have played at a way higher level than I ever did. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoyed every moment.
Yeah, and what's really cool, like I said, you really stepped up and performed in that game with 17 points and 3 steals. And I just wanted to, I don't know if folks know. Obviously, we talked a little bit about Mexico, and I watch a little bit of it just because Charge players play down there, and I follow their careers. But in 3 games in the TBT, you're at 17 points a game, and 54% field goal, 47% from 3, 83% from the line, and so
Can you send me that stat, please? I would love if you sent me those stats, bro, because
I could,
that is
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah,
That just shows I'm an efficient player, man. Like,
yeah. So that's one of those ones. I think there's so much talent in the TBT that people just don't understand. What's out there, and so just congratulations on like I said, you're gonna hopefully get to win this year and
sure.
move up in the seedings a little bit. So let me turn it back over to Andrew and let him take it to the next topic.
Well, I mean, it's just interesting because you hear the shit talking of CP3 that just cracks me up. It's like, because he's one of the greatest players of all time, but the only thing faster in his handle is his mouth. So I don't understand what he's saying that about everything.
He gets it going for sure.
He's an amazing player, one of my all-time favorites. But so let's kind of take it down just a notch about obviously the elephant in the room. The reason we're on Zoom and not on a telephone call or in person is obviously because what's going on with COVID. How are you guys staying fresh and how are you guys staying loose? To Brent, like, how are you staying in shape during this time? And Matt, how is that dealing with the logistics of assembling a team in this time?
Go ahead, Brent.
So basically, so to start off, I had an ongoing patella tendonitis injury in Brazil that I was dealing with. So about around the first month and a half, I was just doing a lot of icing, stretching, allowing my body to heal, because I was playing and practicing, just always on 100. But I just started up another regimen where, I'm lifting, I'm jogging, I'm getting in light jogging, I'm biking. I'm still eating healthy. I may have, a Five Guys burger here and there, but I've been trying to keep it pretty clean. Nothing but water for the most part. Cleansing, I've just kind of.
Whoa. So this is the technicality of things. We just lost Brent. We're just going to have to be able to lose that. What Brent was saying, I'm sure he'll come back at some point, is that he's staying in shape because he's obviously a lean, mean fighting machine.
Definitely.
So Matt, if we get Brent back, great. But if not, the interwebs does strange things. How is the COVID affecting your organizational stuff?
If you actually want me to be honest, I think it's actually making it easier because people have time to send these verification videos. When they're in off season, it's so hard to get these videos from these guys. So I'm actually, this year it's been a little easier. Back to the supporters, it's helping us because no one's doing anything. So people are actually taking the time to do the link. And I just keep pitching to everybody, it is in the Florida region. We're from Tampa. So, I mean, I think truly if we are able to have fans, which is, I'm hoping so, I think we're going to have a home crowd for one of these games because the last couple of years we've been against both home teams, which was VCU and CP3.
This is all true.
All right. So Matt, question I wanted to ask is about uniforms. I've always been a fan of the Tampa 2020 uniforms and the color scheme and design. So how much input do you guys have with creating the uniforms versus, TBT just handing it down to you?
Why are you asking about clothing? Look at your shirt. What is going on here? I mean, I can ask about clothing.
A fashion statement.
I can dress. I don't know about you. Go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good. Honestly, the only thing I gave TBT was the colors green and black or green and white because I'm a huge Celtics fan. So, I just always wanted to have as close to colors as we can. I give TBT all the credit with making them. Some people aren't a fan of the green. I truly like it. But, this year we're going to see if they can go maybe a little more with the black. And
triple black. Third time is always a charm. I'm trying to tell you. It's like Darth Vader, if y'all are into Star Wars.
See,
May the fourth be with you.
Yeah, May 4th.
Kind of.
So, I mean, that's just all we do with that. So I give TBT all the credit for designing what they designed.
Yeah, I thoroughly like the jerseys that they've given us the past 2 years, for sure.
No, they're pretty dope. So as we close this out, because we're up against the clock a little bit, could we ask you both briefly, like, what is your best memory? I know this tournament means a lot to you guys. Like, What has been each of your best memories going into through this last couple of years? And I guess we'll start with Brent since you got back on the call.
Man, I would just have to say just playing against CP3, honestly. That was the the most hyped game that we played in the TBT. Because the atmosphere was great. There was a lot of high level players that were able to watch us as a team, watch us as individuals, and we really just put ourselves on the map as a team that can really play. And we just gotta fix things and come around for this coming season.
So for me,
Matt?
I mean,
What do you got, Matt?
For me, it's simple. I mean, you got to say probably winning that playing game, but honestly, it's going to sound a little, cliche, but last year, I remember we were in Greensboro the day before the game. We were all at Hooters, and Fran Frasillo had a video where he was talking about our game, and he said CP3 should roll in this game easily.
Easily, he says. Easily.
Easily. And all he
that.
talked about on our team was Devin Balkman, who he was our biggest name. He didn't show up that game. So truly, I think making a name for ourselves that game, showing that we should have won that game, but a couple of things didn't go our way. And I think that built the name for Tampa 2020.
Yeah, no, you're right. And what's been interesting as we've been doing these, some of the personal moments have been, some of the favorite memories from GMs and players. Obviously, everyone wants to move the bracket and win, but there's just a lot of good personal moments out there as well. So, real quick before we close, Brent, I got to keep you short, like 30 seconds or less,
Gotcha.
because we're running out of time. Just, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Like I said, you did really good things in Mexico. The numbers were there in Brazil now. Where would you like to see yourself playing in the next couple of years?
Definitely the NBA. I'm just right now currently just trying to find the right connection to get in the G League. I believe that's my best option to get my foot in the door and for, more spacing on the court. And, they just let you kind of play. And they kind of, I know I'm a shooter. But I can get 1, 2, 3 dribbles off, score. I don't need too many dribbles, pick and roll, simple. But yeah, the NBA for sure. That would be that'd be amazing. First professional athlete in my family to make it to the NBA, man, it'd be a dream come true.
And TBT is great about that. TBT is really about making dreams come true. And that seems like a great place to end it. Matt, Brent, Tampa 2020. Thank you guys so much for your time tonight.
Appreciate it,
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
Thanks for having us. Be safe.
Be safe.
Thanks. Appreciate it.